This is my vegetarian body!
Hi. So today we're doing kind of a 1.5 of my Onision series. I'm not only going to be talking about Onision until I finish this on my channel, but takes a long time to do each part, and I left some things out in the first part, so I decided I'm going to make use of this shirt I found at the thrift store a couple of months ago and do a kind of more informal 1.5 of the things I left out that I thought either were funny or might have some insight into Greg's life, aka Onision, and I think he called himself James now. I think I got the name wrong in part 1. And yes, I'm aware of what is going on right now in the Onision world.
Victims? Oh yeah, there has to be at least 10.
I'm hoping some legal action happens, but I'm not going to be talking about that till we get to that part. I'm focusing on a timeline. The reason I'm doing this is because Onision gets into dramas almost every week, and he has been since he's been on the platform. And people will talk about them as they happen, but I wanted to gather them all up in one location, one video location. I'm talking like this is some profound thing, but the fact that I find it interesting that one person just consistently has so much, and like no one has really just shoved them all together properly. I've seen stuff. Sorry if this shakes. It's because I'm filming this on my bed. But let's get this first things first. My part 1 got demonetized, so it doesn't get in recommended as much, so if you could share it. Next, I want to say that, again, it's demonetized, so if you have any inclination to want to give me money on Patreon, that would be great. It takes me a long time, and I always get demonetized, so, again, I hate shelling myself. Back in the day, I could have made $80,000 a year. $80,000 a month, like Onision did back in the day, making crappy videos. Like, videos where he just screams on top of his lungs, but...
This is my fucking body!
Me, am I right? Where did I put my hairbrush? There it is. I'm really... Okay. Alright, I'm done shilling myself, and I feel so bad now. Sorry. So, let's see where I am in my notes. One thing I do not like to do is I do not like to be on camera. That, and I hate looking at myself. I'm not good at speaking on top of my head. Because of that, I end up looking down at the screen a lot. Okay, so the first thing I forgot to mention was that Onision was raised Seventh-day Adventist. Don't know if that's important. I don't know if that has anything to do with his anti-religion that he's on right now, or he has been since, dawn of time.
Hi guys, I'm Onision, and this is 10 things I hate about religion.
But just figured it might be interesting. Now that we have that out of the way, the next thing I forgot to mention was one of his early life little blog entries. He mentions this girl named Christina, and he has mentioned this little relationship in grade school. I'm not sure the grade it was because it wasn't specified in the post, but this little relationship, because he often remembers fondly this part of the relationship. So they end up dating or something, and Christina laughs at all his jokes, but something is not all right here, because this is what Onision writes. One time, at lunch, I had tried to talk to her repeatedly. She always had a tendency to ignore me while her friends were around, even though they all knew I was with her, standing right next to her most of the time. I always wore black. ... So in the moment I was trying to talk to her, I gave up. I stood up hastily in the middle of the lunchroom and began to walk away. She asked where I was going in a loud voice, and so I raised my arm, half bent like a switchblade, my middle finger raised high. And I am not going to be putting up the middle finger because this is a Christian channel.
Thank you for inviting me to your Bible study. Let's praise God.
He then continues to write, when she found me after school, she asked why I did what I did. I told her she disrespected me, and I was enraged by it. She asked how she could fix it, so I told her to prove she was not ashamed. I asked her to show up as gothic as possible. Oh, and then he continues, dressed as gothic as possible to school the next morning. She did. She looked good. But I liked her for what she preferred. Then they break up and, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the most important part was that he got this chick to dress goth for him
There was even one point when I thought, hey, you care about your friends more than you care about me, Christine. I need you to prove that you care about me by dressing up as a goth for one day. And you know what she did? She showed up the next day in front of all of her preppy friends, and she was like, you know what? I'm a goth.
Wow.
Some weird, I think it's like a weird controlling little thing. It's kind of like something in the future where he tried to get girls to chain themselves up or something.
Be chained to our basement wall for a week with a sign around your neck that says, I'm sorry for lying, Lainey.
So in part 1, I mentioned that Onision talked about supernatural stuff in his early vlogs and a lot of his websites. But I forgot to mention this one thing he had called Ghost Skin Association, or GSA. So according to the Life of Onion Wiki, this was a group of ghost hunters that Greg was a member of in 2004. Greg documented their findings on a subdomain of his Mr. Odd website, ghost.mrodd.com. The website remained up until the end of 2006/2007. The site can be viewed through the Wayback Machine. And also it notes that there are 2 people who were members who do not want to be named, so they will refer to them as R and Z. So essentially the site contained 28 pictures that Greg believed were proof of supernatural stuff. And not only that, there was even more further stuff in a Meet the Members page. I kind of touched on that in the part 1 where Greg details the group's supernatural powers. So, what do you think Onision's supernatural power is? The one that he thinks he has that helps with his ghost hunting association. I'm gonna give you a guess. 3, 2, 1, you're wrong. He had the power to, quote, can see metaphysical elements unseen by others, orbs, lights, has advanced senses for capturing ghosts on camera at the right moments, has advanced ability to counsel and interpret ghosts. So I know what you're thinking. There are so many other possibilities for powers that Greg is probably good at, like a weirdly extensive knowledge of the ages of consent around the world, the ability to tell a girl's age by looking at her, and grooming. So also on this website there was a little spoopy story about a ghost encounter that Greg wrote there. So I'm gonna read from the Life of Onion Wiki again, and I'm sorry, I love reading from them. On the site throughout the 2 image pages, Greg wrote out what supposedly took place over the course of a night and the next morning. The images in the gallery correlate with the story. The written story starts off with them speaking to a spirit through a Ouija board. It tells them the abandoned building they were about to visit had 3 people die in it. When they got to the building, the 3 spirits talked about how they died and requested they use the bodies of the GSA to escape the building, reunite with their families, and confront Paul, the man who started the fire that killed them. The GSA decided to not go through with it because they did not know much about healthy possession, okay? The spirits became frustrated but complied. The GSA explored the building and Greg took many photographs. The GSA went back to the 2 friends' home and communicated with a spirit named E through the Ouija board. E became infatuated with Z and claimed they were married to her in their own past life. E felt there was no alternative life without Z. E helped keep negative energies away and requested to use Z's energy to fend them off, which Z allowed multiple times. Greg says there were now over 129 spirits observing their conversation. E told R that they were a rat in their past life, where R would order the deaths of those they said were a witch. The spirits asked for an apology and left when R responded. Throughout the communication with the board, they learned there were 44 planets that have human life. R had only been to 2 planets and was now bound to Earth from their punishment for their past life. E said they witnessed Gregory reporting Z as a witch in the past. Greg rationalized this by saying most likely he did this because R manipulated him into doing it. This is so dumb. The GSA finally went to sleep at 2 a.m., even though E warned them some spirits have not left the room. Greg says after the lights were shut off, he saw orb-like blurs, with his supernatural powers of course, moving around. After that, he saw a bright light in his right eye, jumped up and told R to turn on the lights. He took pictures around the room after Z told him to do so, and saw orbs appear in the photos. So the GSA moved upstairs to sleep. Upstairs, Greg took photos to make sure there were no spirits. He thought he did not see any, but upon later inspection, realized he did in fact capture orbs in those pictures. The next morning, R moaned words of fear. in their sleep, and Greg comforted R until they woke up. He then told the GSA team that if they are ever in danger, they must focus on positive energy and counsel each other through it because they are stronger together. While trying to fall back asleep, Z let out a scared noise, but was fine. Greg blames the nightmares on the spirits. He says he and Z are excited about the next encounter, but R is cautious. So Sight went away sometime at the end of 2005. The next thing I didn't really mention because it didn't really fit in was on one of Onision's websites that was dated sometime between 2003 and 2006. That was the copyright at the bottom. Didn't have a date when it was posted listed, but it was. That was the copyright. There you go. But he posted his psychology quiz answers, and I don't know why he wasn't even to share this, but I copied and pasted my favorite questions and answers. I didn't put all of them in, but they're listed on the Life of Onion Wiki if you want to find that. But here are the questions and answers I found interesting though. Question 1. The disadvantages of marrying before age 25 outweigh the advantages. Onision agrees, which doesn't make sense because he got married before the age of 25 to his first wife, and he married a couple people, he married someone under 25 and I believe got engaged to somebody else under 25. So Onision, alright, whatever. Just interesting. Next question. If you could divide the people of the world into 3 categories, what would your categories be? Answer. Category 1. TSC, the significantly corrupt. Rapists, serial killers, drug dealers, etc. Category TIR, the insanely religious. Pretty much anyone who believes and dedicates their lives to/in unseen powers and deities of which show absolutely no hard evidence of actually existing. And Category 3, WSF, we sane folk, the rest of us. The next question reads, what traits do you have? How are these behaviors affected by your current life situation? Answer. Technically, I have plenty of traits, both negative and positive. I am a jerk sometimes. Sometimes. An aspiring funny man. Didn't happen. A lover of women. False. And so on. I believe that I contribute to society with my humor. You don't. But hurt it with my occasional negative attitude. Occasional. And the last question I put down. How did your parents handle your toilet training? If you don't remember, ask one of your parents or a sibling. Greg's answer. I peed my bed until I was 11. I believe that is enough said for now. You know who else peed their pants into the double digits? A guy by the name of Jonathan Ross.
Yo,
Hi, Ross. How you doing?
So take that as you wish. Alright, so in my part 1, I talked about Onision's many dumb journals that he kept over the years. But I didn't add in every single one I found interesting or funny, so I just want to go through some of the ones that entertained me. Here's one. Onision posted for Halloween in 2005. He starts his journal entry by writing, "So Halloween hits us again. Another day of random child abductions. Another day of kids running out and beating the crap out of other kids for candy. Another hypocritical celebration of a thought that contradicts the common American religion. Another day for people to have an excuse to get wasted off their minds. Another day for me to complain about the wretches of society and how we should all be burned in the pits of Hades. If it only existed." Real deep, Greg. He concludes this journal by writing, "You know what grinds my gears? Parents who have their kids go out and get all that candy from strangers who they trust so much, and then say, 'Okay, only one a night. F you, Dad!'" He censors it. Like, this isn't YouTube. Greg was censoring it for YouTube monetization before that was a thing. Anyways, "F you, Dad. I just risked my life for this god candy. I'm eating it all. Effing like right now. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha." I don't know what the rest of you think about when you think of Halloween, but I know for myself I think about how fun it was when I was a kid dressing up like a cat every year from the age of 1 to 12. Except for when I was 11, I did dress up like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But other than that, I was cat-filled in all of my Halloween adventures. But no, Greg thinks about how there's horrible crimes about. I can only wonder if the reason he thinks like this is because some deep down, dark, disgusting thing hidden within him. I'm not here to make assumptions though. I'm not the only one who thought Greg was being a bit nutter butter here, because the next day people apparently were talking about how crazy this is, but Greg assures them that he loves Halloween, but I just don't like the people who make the holiday an excuse to abduct children, dress gross, get wasted off their minds. So next thing that was interesting is similar to this because Greg gets pissy about another holiday. This time it's the following year on Cinco de Mayo. He writes a journal titled May 5th, 2006, Degrade Your Dignity. He writes, Happy Mexican holiday excuse to get drunk and forget your miseries day. Well, for you, because it's got to be one of the lamest holidays recognized in this country, kind of like St. Patrick's Day or New Year's. All excuses to get into car accidents, break the law, and generally make yourself a worse person than you already are. Yes, this is offensive to the guilty, but I really don't give a bleep. Okay. Because you keep killing kids in drunk driving incidents, you bleepers. Bringing everyone else down with you. You're not 21? Who cares? It's St. Patrick's Day and I'm a prick. Woo. Yeah, so he likes to use holidays as an excuse to make himself feel superior to other people trying to have fun. And find the most negative thing in every situation. He must be such a joy at parties. Maybe that's why he doesn't get invited to them.
Hi there, I'm Onision. This video is about why I don't have friends.
So I've included a journal from his time in the military because I think this is a very good representation of how probably difficult it is to be around Onision because of how much of a drama queen he is in this little story. And the title of this entry is called The Jerks and it is dated July 5th, 2005. Onision writes, I saw something really offensive today. I'm going to be very inspecific because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, however. An unsupervised group of young men were told to feed a reptile. I was in CQ, answering phones and working on a website, when they were instructed to grab a rat and toss it in to be fed with the snake. To do this, they would have to kill it first. Though I have never killed anything other than a few bugs, to my knowledge, I felt extremely encouraged to volunteer for the death blow, as I foresaw the mornicism. Microsoft says that's not a word, but you do you, Greg, that might be a word, and maybe Microsoft is wrong, and you're right! I mean, you have the facts.
Facts! Give me facts!
That was about to take place. One of the young men picked up the rat, no matter what creature it is. If it has never hurt a soul, it deserves a ping's end, and flicked it on the back of the head, assuming it would kill it. No! I knew it would no doubt injure it, and to every extent, it would continue to live if he were to keep that up. And he did! As the other young men laughed around the rat dangling helplessly by its tail, fearing what might happen and wondering violently why such things were happening to it, the young men flicked it again, in the same manner, with no avail. No death, just more pain. What a queen. Glaring deeply and furiously, I scanned the room full of these boys laughing, hysterically so at the rat's pain, at the idiocy that bloomed from the abuser, realizing finally that the rat was not going to die if he were to continue flicking it so gently. He changed. No, he did not change anything. He only flicked it harder, and this time the rat screamed in pain. More laughter. These men, where were they raised? I wonder. By who? Clenching my fist, pulling away from my laptop mouse, I could only witness this take place as I could see no resolve, as the rat was too far gone for repair, and I could not help but feel a continued stray in me from death by my hands. Another young boy, child, old in age, young in mind, took over. He tried to kill it and only ended up flinging it against the wall. For what reason? I'm not certain. At that point, I was too far gone by breathing. My upset. When they threw the twitching rat into the snake's container, not even yet fully gone. The snake lashed out and strangled it. Finally, the pain had ended. Finally. I then gave the boys a stern speech, a loud speech, a clear speech. I told them that their behavior was inexcusable. I told them that if they were going to do that again, kill the animal right, or have me do it instead. Greg, you couldn't kill a rabbit. You're not going to be able to kill a rat. Calm yourself. For although I would suffer a guilty conscience, at least I could eliminate the life with much less pain. A better, less terrified transfer to whatever realm a rat would go after death. Nowhere, you're an atheist, Greg. It's all such a pity this happened, and the boys did not understand my concern. However, they do know I cringe at the thought of harmless animals receiving harm. God damn. So deep, Greg. I hope you are all with me in my upset, for if you are not, you are truly removed from what respect for life is, and in this I am saddened by your mistaken eyes. Sighs! Other than this event, my day went well. I just don't know why they laugh. I don't understand how someone can be so moronic as to find enjoyment out of another creature's pain, or realize that it feels pain and it should be respected, no matter what its purpose is here in this world. We are men of prehistoric minds in a world of advanced technology. Nothing has changed but our tools. So I also excluded like 2 dramas that I found for my part 1. They're smaller ones just for time and stuff. So the first one that I excluded was Onision got in a drama with, I'm gonna let you sit for a moment and guess. That's right, it's Fox News. So he got in a drama with Fox News. This was at the beginning of 2010, and from the Life of Onion, it reads, on January 12, 2010, the country of Haiti was struck with a devastating earthquake. The next day, Greg made a video called Haiti Earthquake, where he encouraged viewers to donate towards victims of the earthquake.
Hey guys, I just finished donating to the Haiti victims.
Soon after, Fox News ran a report warning viewers of potential scam artists posing as Haiti earthquake charities. In their segment, they showed different clips of YouTubers asking their viewers to donate toward Haiti earthquake victims, one being Greg. On January 4th, 2010, Greg uploaded Fox News attacks YouTuber Onision. In the video, Greg says Fox News set him up.
Here's the problem. You set me up.
To appear to be a potential crook to the entire nation.
You broadcast my face to the entire nation as a potential crook.
Greg then demands an apology and demands they play the whole clip where he almost breaks out in tears. Greg says by crapping on him. Fox News is crapping on the charities he promoted. Therefore, they are crapping on the hungry children the charity feeds. He then said in the video, Fox News, do what's right. Make it clear exactly who the con is.
I demand you play the entire clip in which I almost break into tears.
Fucking weirdo. I also cut out a drama that he had later in 2010. So he got into beef with popular family vlogger Shay Carl. So, reading directly again because informal. In June 2010, popular family vlogger Shay Carl announced that his newborn son was circumcised. Greg decided to personally call out Shay Carl and attack his character by calling him names such as child mutilator, monster, and horrible father on Twitter over a period of a few days. This caused arguments on Twitter between Onision defenders and Shay Carl defenders. There's a YouTuber named JP Metz who made a video in defense of Shay, which led Greg to make a video response. I remember JP Metz from back in this time.
Well, I complain about Onision and how much he sucks.
And Shay being the not Onision in this situation, his only response to Greg's attacks were, @Onision, unfollow me on Twitter. I just feel bad that he's so angry and that I disgust him so much. I have no hard feelings for him. Eventually, Greg apologized on Twitter, but he only apologized for making it personal and not for his opinion or whatever. He was like, this is what he said. There will be no apology to @JCarl. I stated I did not mean for it to get personal, not that I did not mean what I said. Onision later in his career would become a father himself, and I'm sure he would not be very happy with someone saying that he's a terrible father. So Shay and Greg after this seemed fine in 2011, but Greg did a live stream in 2012 where he admitted he was doing this because he's a drama whore. No kidding. So yeah, that's just the things I didn't have in part 1. I'm sure there's other interesting things I forgot. That's why it's fun to watch all these different videos about it. I'm hoping I can get the most important things in. My part 2 will be out eventually and just share part 1. If you're so inclined, you can give me money on Patreon. It's very cool. I'm trying to come up with benefits, I guess. I guess I'll just draw some pictures for people. Don't get used to me being on camera because I hate being on camera. But this shirt, isn't it neat? Alright, so that's end of part 1.5. It's gonna take me a while to finish too, and don't worry if you don't care about any sound, there'll be other stuff here, please sub, and have a wonderful evening. I'm so cold right now. I want to go put on some long sleeves. Thank you. Here are my Patreons listed here, and thank you.
Everybody goes to